This morning, I have a question for you. How are you inviting people to follow Jesus? We have all been tasked to go and make disciples of everyone. So, how are you going with the mission? How are you inviting people to follow Jesus? And I'm here to let you know this morning, it's a lot simpler than you think. We simply need to look at how Jesus did it. He used two words: follow me. You see, we're all followers. We're all always following something. I could ask you to pull out your phone and you'd show me about 60 things that you're following. But following, it's not a passive term. You can't follow something and just sit back. It's active. It implies and involves moving. We begin to resemble the thing or the person that we have chosen to follow. And so I want to ask you this morning, who are you following? Because in order for us to make disciples, we first have to be disciples. We have to accept the personal invitation. The personal invitation that Jesus extends towards us to step into a relationship with Him, to do life with Him, to model our lives off of His, to follow Him. We have to be following Him. But there's a difference between believing in Jesus and following Jesus. The mark of a follower of Jesus is a greater reflection of Jesus. And it starts with accepting that personal invitation to follow Him. And this leads me into my second point, which is the public invitation. What do I mean by that? All of us, in the way in which we live our lives, the examples that we put before others, it invites them to follow us. You may not think you're leading anyone, but the reality is we're all leading people. And if they choose to follow your example, then you're going to lead them wherever the person that you are following is going. So if it's Jesus, that's great. But if it's not, where are you leading people? Do you resemble more the world or Jesus? What impact does the presence of your life have in the lives of others? Are you inviting them to follow Jesus through the example that you're leading them in? Because you see, when we have a posture of leading in the example of Jesus, we begin to open the door for the Holy Spirit to work through us and impact the lives of others. And so my final point this morning is the together invitation. You may be sat here this morning thinking like, geez, that's a big responsibility to lead people around me in the example of Jesus. And you're right, I'm not going to beat around the bush. It is a big responsibility. But you don't have to do it on your own. When Jesus says, follow me, He invites us into community, He invites us into unity, and He invites us into togetherness. We don't fix ourselves up before we come to Jesus. We come to Him and He cleans us up. His presence, it makes us better. And then we do life together. We keep one another sharp. Imagine the impact if we, all of us in this room, were to have our arms around one another, knowing one another, doing life with one another, and actually moving towards and becoming more like Jesus together. And then from here, we went out into our city. We went into our workplaces, our families, our friends, and we put our arms around them too. And we brought them in to the family of God through the loving relationship of Jesus Christ. It starts with you. The world is a dark place. But as Jesus says, you are the light of the world. And this is how we shine. We share His love. Not by anything we do, but by Jesus shining His light through us as we follow Him.